Start the recording. Good. All right. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the September meeting of the ACSESS Health and Safety Excellence Program Group. Again, as I said, hope everybody had a good summer, ready for the fall, busy season, and have made some good progress on your topics, depending on where you are in your cycle. Everybody kind of is a little bit all over the place, and we're going to talk about that today as well. And I'll move right into the agenda. And so we're kind of going to do kind of a status, kind of a check on where everybody should be at with their cycle, and talk about two key sort of activities that everybody should be doing, or have, well, some you should have done depending on where you are, but that is the draft of the PDCA if you haven't done it already, and then just a kind of a review of how to package evidence, because many of you are now in the stage where you've completed some topics and you're kind of ready to package the evidence and upload it for me to review. So we'll talk about that, kind of a reminder, kind of an update on that. I also have an update on the Small Business Initiative, upcoming changes to the portal. We'll do the topic review, and the topic review is a controlled hazard topic today, and it's pedestrian safety. So could be a good one. I think some of you, or at least one, whoever suggested it, is doing it. And also could be a good one for you if it's applicable for you to consider as a future topic under controlled hazards. So may apply to you, something to make a note of as well. And then, as usual, we'll do next meeting agenda, any other topic suggestions. I do have a list still, but we can add to it. Any questions that we didn't answer throughout the meeting that are left, and then we'll select the next meeting date. All right. As usual, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt me. Just easier than the chat box. I do have the chat box open, but don't always look at it sometimes as I'm doing the presentation. So if you want to catch my attention earlier, then just unmute and ask your question. It's not a problem. All right. All right. So we'll get right into it with the topic cycle status. So as I said, at this point, we're into year 2, and people have started and finished at all different times. We've got some new people that are coming in, so they're just starting. And so kind of everybody could be in a different spot in their cycle. So I do want to talk about at least 2 of the key activities that occurs in a cycle, which is the earlier one after I do approval, topic selection approval. The next email you usually get is, okay, in the next month or 2, please send me a draft of the plan, do, and check activity and evidence for each of your topics. And remember, what that means is there's no expectation that anything is complete, of course, at that point. It's just how you anticipate that you're going to be doing the plan, do, and check for each of your topics, aligning them with the topic requirements in the program guide, in the Excellence Members Guide, and aligning them with the suggestions from the evidence story document. And so that's really all that is. It's, here it's kind of your roadmap for each topic. That gets sent to me usually within the first 2 months of your cycle. I review it and I give you any feedback. The whole idea behind that is to make sure you're on the right track with each of your topics, so that we have no surprises at month 9 or 10, maybe, when you're submitting a topic and I look at it for the first time and I say, this is missing, this is missing, this is missing. And then it could be too late. The deficiencies could be so great, you may not be able to fix them. All right. So we're trying to avoid all that, and that's the idea of the drafts. I do send out, at least one, maybe two reminders that I'm still looking for it, but after that, I will stop sending reminders. And I guess you'll hope for the best that when you submit it, and it's the first time I see it, that it's fine, and you don't have to go back to the drawing board. All right. So it is a requirement. So take advantage of it for me to do that review, give you an idea that you're in the right direction. Okay. You can't draft out the activity call row or the evidence, because you don't know what the results of the check is. So it's really what you think the plan and do and check will be. And of course, it's going to go through several iterations as you actually get into it, but that's fine. That's why it's called a draft. All right. Any questions on that expectation? I know a number of you have already sent it to me, and I've sent you back the comments. Some of you are, fix it and send it back to me again, which is great. But really, next time I see it will be when you're ready to submit that topic, probably. All right. I don't see any questions in the chat. And I don't hear anybody who's trying to talk who maybe didn't unmute. All right. Okay. The next bullet. Evidence has to be packaged. How do you prepare your evidence? So remember, first and most important thing to remember is we don't use that, that you got the 4 tabs. We don't use tab 3. Okay. So ignore tab 3. I think it's called the evidence story tab. Okay. Our evidence story is uploaded with our PDCA document under the implementation model tab. Okay. So don't worry about having to retype anything into tab 3, which is called evidence story. You'll prepare your packages for upload under the evidence upload tab. When we say package, what does that mean? Well, for each topic, you're going to have the list of evidence that you listed in your PDCA, because in the evidence column of your PDCA, it's just a bullet list of the evidence. There's no narrative. You don't have to talk about anything. You just say policy, form, training record, whatever it fits, right, under plan do. So under the plan evidence, typical is the policy or procedure you created for that topic, and maybe a blank form, maybe a risk assessment. All right. So there may be 3 items, 3 files you created. You will combine them into one file, combine the PDF. There's many different ways people do it. Some people put everything into a PowerPoint and then PDF the PowerPoint. So as long as you're able to combine it into one, then you call that file plan evidence package, and it might have 3 things in it. When I scroll through it, if it's a PDF, there may be 5 or 6 pages, and it's 3 or 4 things in there, right? But it's one upload. Okay. Do evidence package, same thing. You might have 4 or 5 items there that you listed in your PDCA under do, and then those 5 items will be put together into a do evidence package. That'll be the title of the file. That'll be the description of the file. Just keep calling it do evidence package. When the system asks you, describe what's the description, what's the name of it, just say do evidence package. Your name for the upload should be do evidence package, right? And you again would combine all the things. Typical evidence would be training record, some pictures that you might have taken, interview transcripts, signage, anything that you collected. For do evidence, if you do a video, like a very short video, that has to be packaged separately with that on its own, because you can't combine a document like an Excel with a video, or a PowerPoint with a video, or a Word with a video, or a PDF with a video. So in that case, you're going to have do evidence package 1 for all the other stuff, and then do evidence package 2 for your video, right? So you've got 2 uploads for that if you need to. If your do evidence packages are very big, you do have enough to a spare one here to do a package 1 and a package 2 if you want to split them up. Okay. Everything you listed in the evidence column in your PDCA should be in those packages. So if you've listed something but didn't put it there, hopefully I'll catch it when I do my review. I don't see this and it's listed, or the validator is going to ask you where it is because you've listed it and it's the supporting evidence for your due activity, right? So if you list it, upload it, put it in the package. Check evidence package. Again, typically it's the results of survey, results of interviews, a questionnaire. And, you know, if you did a review, you know, with the management team, the minutes of that, your any sort of a checklist, like a mini audit checklist you did, that would be your check evidence package. And same thing, titled and uploaded as check evidence package. If you need ACT, remember, after you do your check, the results could be you don't need any improvements. So in your PDCA under ACT, you're going to say, you know, the results of my check showed, you know, we're in compliance with our policy. No improvements required at this time. Then there won't be an ACT evidence package. Okay. It's only when you have to do some improvements and you list what those improvements are in the activity column, then you would want to try to see if you can get some evidence to demonstrate you made that improvement. Like if you revise the policy because there was something you found that could have been a little bit better, then you would put the updated version of that policy as your ACT evidence package. Right. So that would give you 4 uploads if you need them, 3 uploads if you didn't need an ACT, which means you got a spare, you got 2 spares, right? So because you can do 5 per topic. Okay. So that's the collection, the preparation. Now, if you forgot how to upload the PDCA under implementation model, or you forgot how to upload the evidence, there are 2 PowerPoints that most of you should have. I send them out when I do the welcomes. I send them out when people join. They are both entitled how-tos, how to update and upload your implementation plan or your PDCA, and then how to upload evidence, right? So they are also in the resource library on the ACSESS website. They're there as well. And if you can't find them and your computer or on the ACSESS website under the library, just shoot me an email and I will email them to you again. All right. Any questions on draft PDCA evidence preparation and uploading? As far as timing, everything, the last topic that you're working on should have been sent to me and uploaded, sent to me for review at least about 3-4 weeks before your expiry date. So that means everything else, all the other topics would have been done. If your last one should be about 3 to 4 weeks before your expiry date is like the cutting it, and that's cutting it pretty short. Okay. Because if we need to make some adjustments, you don't have very much time. So, all right. And I need to review it and get it in there, right? So keep track of your expiry dates. The system keeps track as well if you bother to log in. So make sure you're tracking your timelines. Any questions on that?
Did you say that we should send you each topic for review?
No, the PDCA document.
Okay, yeah,
The PDCA document has room for 5 topics.
yeah.
Okay. So some people, you know, took some edit liberties and split it up into 5 different documents. Don't do that because the implementation model tab only allows you to upload 1 document. right, for your PDCA. And the intent is that document has the story and the PDCA for all 5. If you pick 5, it'll be 3. You'll have 2 blanks. So the draft is that you wrote out the draft of the PDCA for each topic on that document. So the template we use has room for 5 PDCAs, 1 for each topic. That is the one you send me as draft. And obviously, when you're ready with the final version for a topic, when you're ready to upload the evidence, you will make sure that that final version is also uploaded to the implementation model tab of the portal. Okay. When I do the review, I don't go by the version that is on my computer, because you may have updated it and not sent me. I download the one that you've uploaded, the latest version you've uploaded to the implementation model when you submit a topic for validation for me to review before it goes to validation. So I automatically do that just to make sure that I am reviewing your evidence packages from the latest version of your PDCA for that topic. And don't worry if you're sending it for one topic and you've got, notes and stuff on the other 4, the validator only looks at the PDCA for the topic that has been sent for validation. They don't care about the other ones until we indicate that that topic's ready for validation, right? When you send it ready for review, it's provider review, it's me. So don't worry that when you would upload your evidence and click ready for review, that it's going to the WSIB. Okay? It's just coming to me for review. And if there's some items you're going to need to change, I'll switch it back to draft and send you comments. Okay, the point of no return is when I send it for validation, and then you send me an email, oh, I just wanted to add this, too late, right? Because it's gone. So don't mark it ready for review until you're pretty sure it's finished. And you can't make any changes when you've sent it, when you've marked it from draft to ready for review. For me, it locks it out from you making any more changes. If you do want to make a change, all you got to do is send me an email and say, oops, I wanted to add this. Can you please put it back to draft? I will. And then you can add that, mark it ready for review again, and then I'll look at it. Right? To answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Please don't email me the evidence packages. I don't have enough room on my even my external drive to collect hundreds of pieces of evidence. So I look at those when you upload them. All right. All right. No other questions on that. Again, if you're having any trouble, send me an email. We can do one-on-one meeting. I can walk you through it. Whatever you need, right? So, the evidence upload's a little finicky if you don't, if you miss a click, right? So, follow the how-tos, and if you still can't do it, then give me a call. We can do a Zoom, and I can walk you through it. All right. Next item is the small business initiative. That's what they're calling it. It went through like 5 different names. It was a small business pilot. It was the small business pandemic support program. And now they took all of that out and they call it the small business initiative. So it's the SBI, right? Well, it's basically for those of you who were indicated on the WSIB database as a micro, small, or medium firm qualify for the small business initiative. Originally, that initiative was going to end December 2022. After many requests from providers, they have agreed to extend it to December 2023, which is great news. If you're not sure, like I sent out an email, like I did a search in the database. I sent out an email to everybody to letting you know you are. And if you're still not sure, you missed my email. If you log into the portal and you look at your profile, it'll say firm size. And if it says, or size band or something, and if it says micro, small, or medium, and I haven't emailed you or you don't know, then let me know, and we can look at it. But so there are a number of you that fall into that category, and so are part of the program. The program, as you'll recall, now can, because it's extended, you can still get, for joining, anytime you join, once I approve your topic selection, $1,000 just to join. Then when you finish a topic, you get your regular rebate. And then after that, they'll send you another payment for double of that original payment. So your original rebate is doubled, right? The advantage of, or the good news about the extension is that some people had started already a plan back in, say, March of 2022. They may be able to finish a first plan by say January, February. Then you can start another one, get another $1,000. And if you finish that one, even if you don't do all 5 topics or 2 or 3 topics by December 2023, you get another double rebate. So you can actually probably squeeze in maybe 2 completed action plans between now and December 2023 and take full advantage, right? So you get 1,000 each time you join, and then you get double rebate for each completed action plan. All right. So for those of you that this applies to, please keep that in mind. Any questions on it, please give me a call, shoot me an email. There is a simplified version of a PDCA for those that are in the SBI. So trying to keep it a little simple to do. You still have to collect evidence and packages and stuff, but at least how you write your activity and your evidence list just simplified a little bit, just for SBI firms. Any questions? All right. All right. Some good news on the horizon. Because you just heard me mention about the finickiness of evidence upload. So they've updated the user interface on the portal, but you will only see what I'm going to go over right now after you have finished and closed your current action plan. And on your next cycle, after your next topic selection, then you'll see the changes. So these will not be seen to you or applicable to you until you start your next action plan. So I'm kind of giving you a heads up. I'll probably have to go over it again when everybody's well into the 2023 action plans. So, but they have simplified it and made it easier, eliminated a lot of those pop-up windows and extra clicks. So what is the change? Well, first of all, topic selection, clicking the boxes and uploading your topic rationale form, that hasn't changed. Okay, and that's pretty straightforward, right? So topic selection process and the screens for that have not changed. Once I approve the action plan, normally next time you go to your dashboard, you see the 4 tabs. Those 4 tabs are gone. The implementation model tab and the evidence story tab are gone. All you'll see is these 2 tabs called approved topics and evidence package. That's the tabs. The approved topics, there's nothing for you to do on that. It's already done. And that shows up because I have approved your topic selection. And if you clicked on that tab, it'll just take you back to the topic selection screen, which really you can't do anything except I think you can change the contact person on it. You can't change your rationale form. You can't change everything else is locked out, I think, except for you can update the contact information. All right. Otherwise, the other tab is the one of interest where the most of the changes have occurred. And that's now called the evidence package tab. There is where now you'll upload the evidence story, the PDCA document. It's called the evidence story on the portal. We call it PDCA document. Okay. and that's where you'll have the one file. Same thing as what we were doing for implementation model. It shows up here now, and you can upload different iterations by removing the old one, upload the new one, remove the old one, upload the next version until your final versions there once you're ready to submit all your topics. The other thing you'll see is still the list of your selected topics. And when you click on edit for a topic, you still will have the 5 uploads. And it's called evidence files. The difference here is no more pop-ups. You can actually drag and drop to upload a file, a package. And you can still do your 5 packages. There's no more use selected, add select, you just update it and save it. And then you can go add, drag and add another one, drag and drop, update, save. You go add, drag and drop, update, save. And then you'll still have to change the status from draft to ready for review, and then save that, and then I get the email to do the review. So it's a simplified version of those 4 tabs. Nobody was using tab 3, so that's why it was removed, right? So now you basically, everybody's using some sort of a document that gets uploaded for their PDCA, nothing they type into the portal, which was the old tab 3, which wasn't getting used. So they've eliminated it. So now everybody, it's mandatory to upload a PDCA, an evidence story version or document, which is what we've been using since day 1. All right. So like I said, remember, this change will only be seen for people who just joined, and I haven't approved your topic selection, or if I've just approved it, within the last couple of weeks, then yeah, you probably are going to see this version on your screen. Everybody else, it'll be when your next topics get approved. Right. In the resources on the portal, they do have instructions for the old version and the new version as well. So you can see that as well there. And again, if you're having any trouble, give me an email and we'll go through it. All right, so stay tuned. Hopefully some user interface improvements to the portal. Questions? I don't see any typing. All right. And I don't hear any voices. So let's topic review for this month is a controlled hazard topic. And specifically, it would be described as employee or worker injured due to struck by mobile equipment. That kind of would be the control hazard topic. So let me open up the members guide. Okay, so this is the members guide, and I just went to the control of hazard topic, which is kind of the example for the basic kind of requirements, regardless of which hazard you're working on. And so remember, when we describe a control of hazard topic, we describe the hazard. So the hazard is, employee injured, due to being struck by mobile equipment. So if you have this hazard existing because of the type of placements you do, certainly it would, probably apply mainly to your external staff, your placement workers, but so it's still, fine to select it. And so I think some of you, or one of you at least, have selected it. And so when you do the plan for it, you're going to say, you're going to do in 1 or 2 sentences why you select it. Okay, so you're going to explain to the validator. We selected this topic because we have a number of placements in a warehouse or shipping receiving area where there's, our clients are using mobile equipment and they are pedestrians and exposed to this hazard. Okay, we have applied the mainly administrative controls since we do not, we don't have the ability to change the physical structure at our client sites. You can't mandate your client site to put in yellow lines and barriers and stuff. So from your perspective, you explain why you can suggest engineering controls. Obviously, elimination and substitution are probably not something that can even suggest. Engineering controls, I guess you can suggest to your client, but they don't have to do anything. So the biggest area where you can have impact is in administrative, and certainly PPE, which I'm pretty sure they already would be safety shoes, right? Or maybe safety shoes and a reflective vest. So you would tell the validator, we applied administrative controls and personal protective equipment from the hierarchy. Okay, so that would be written under plan. And you wrote so the name of a control program, you can have any name, but for example, in this case, pedestrian safety program would address the hazard, right? So we implemented a pedestrian safety program, right? And again, in that program, you're going to describe and detail the administrative controls and the PPE controls. That would be what would be expected in that sort of a policy, standard, procedure, whatever you want to call it. And that's what this, the requirements, right? So it says for the hazard that you picked, described, also the risk assessment that you did to quantify it, right? So the hazard, what was the likelihood, the frequency, what was the ranking, right? So if you did an assessment, that would also be under plan. So the plan evidence would be the policy and the risk assessment under the evidence list. Okay. So sticking with this one, obviously, once you did that, there's going to be a communication and training component to this one. For due will be the main one, right? So there are a couple of things. First of all, you would want to show is how did you communicate and how did you train all the affected employees? So you'd have to come up with how you're going to do that. You did an email, or you did some sort of recorded a video of you explaining it. However, you informed and trained all your staff, your placement staff, whatever scenario you had. You'd want to say you added it to your orientation program if it's not already there, right? You added it to your client site visit checklist that you do when you take on a client or when you do a annual visit. So that would be another really good administrative control, right? That it becomes part of one of the hazards you review when you take on a new client. So all of that would be due activity. That would be explained in your standard, but then you would be actually executing it. So you would show your new client site tour or assessment, safety assessment with the pedestrian hazard on it. You would show completed versions of it. You would have training records, the training material, or the notice you sent out. Maybe you created an alert that you sent out to all your temp placements, right? Hazard alert or something. However you decided, whatever works for you to communicate it, but they're going to want to see some training type activity, and then some acknowledgement that people actually read whatever or attended that training, right? So verification that actually people did that. So you would upload training records, training material, like I said. All right. Anybody else tackle this topic in the past? Anything else that you did that maybe I didn't cover for this type of a hazard that you're all doing or you're doing? Nobody else has this hazard. Maybe it's going to be a good one for everybody for the next cycle. Mine are just suggestions. Some of you may have already done this and have addressed this topic. So if you have anything to share where everybody who's taking notes when they do this topic or this year or next year, they can take advantage of these notes. Nobody else? All right. So that's plan do. Then you're going to do about 6 to 8 weeks. You're going to do check on this, which means you're going to go back and evaluate. So evaluate, how can you? Well, you can look at your accident stats. We have had, and tell the value, we have had 0 accidents related to anybody struck by anything. So that's a review. The safety person reviewed it with your joint health and safety committee. If you have an internal one, and nobody reported any issues, it seems to be working. You can do, you can have your business development folk do with 2 or 3 temp placements that are work in this environment to do a question, like a 3-question survey. Do you remember the training? Do you know your responsibilities? Do you know, right? And then the results of that survey would be evaluation. Yeah, you don't have to go to 3 questions, do a sampling and about 3 or 4 different clients with your placements. Quick phone call. Can I just I just want to talk about quickly this hazard, ask them the 3 questions, right? And then the review would be the summary of that. So you would upload the questions and then the summary of the answers as an evaluate. All right. So different ways, just some examples, right? And then the act would be always, as usual, based on the results of your check, right? So that's the expectation, that you develop, implement control measures for that hazard that you picked. How you're going to monitor and maintain, right? And again, the control measures have to take into account, right? So when you're writing up your policy, the hazard, the actual hazard, who's affected, the controls, any legal requirements. So I think there is something in the occupational, in the industrial regs around mobile equipment and stuff that you could look up and reference as well, right? Any other codes or practices and all that kind of good stuff. Right. And it does take into account your ability and capacity to control, right? So, in your situation, a lot of times you can't eliminate substitute. You can recommend engineering, but you can do administrative and PPE, depending on, again, the hazard. All right. I think that's all that's in the guide. Yeah. Any questions on that topic? I don't know if the person who is doing that topic is on the call today. Are you there? Who's doing that topic? It did come up on the list.
It sounds familiar. It might be something I'm doing.
Yep. Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Are you on the right track?
Except that I kind of expanded the scope a little bit in not just pedestrians, because in the places that we have employees, it's we have the forklift operators and the production workers in the same place. So it's going to be the one policy for both types of employees.
Sure. I mean,
around injuries around forklift operations.
Right. I mean, if you focus it around the pedestrians, like the forklift operator responsibility to watch out for pedestrians, that would make sense because you're placing forklift operators as well as people who are pedestrians, right? But if it's a forklift safety, what I would do is save it for next year because that's a separate topic.
Yeah, no, not forklift safety, but basically, I've got it. Okay, the scope, I have it
Yeah,
just
I
right
mean,
here.
they're only going to look at it from the hazard you described, but if you cover more than one hazard in your submission, then the disadvantage of that is that you probably could have done that other topic as a separate controlled hazard topic, right?
Oh,
If
I
it's
see.
big enough in scope, right? So
Right.
that's the only thing. I mean, it's perfectly fine to do, but you might get, oh, you did two hazards and the only one really that we're doing for review is the pedestrian injury illness one. And you could have done the other hazard if it's totally different, related to forklift operation, as a separate controlled hazard topic, because you place a
Oh.
lot of forklift operators, right? And there are hazards
Right,
to being a forklift operator, right? We just have to word it properly. That's the only
Right,
thing
right.
to watch out for, yeah.
Okay,
And it's perfectly fine to do more than one, but you're not going to get credit for two. You only get credit for one, where you could have gotten credit for two topics, right? So,
right.
all right, that's all.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody have any other input to contribute to Lee for that topic? Or you're going to thank her because you have it on your list for next year because you also you have people in the same, exposed to the same hazard. I'm assuming many of you might, if you're in any sort of production area where there's forklifts, it would make sense as a topic. All right. Again, I don't see any typing. And I do
Anybody
not-
wants a copy of what I've done, just let me know.
Yeah, well, there you go. What an offer. If you want to share it with everybody, if you send it to me, I will upload it as into our library with our samples. You can, and if you want to take off your company name or whatever and just make it generic, you can do that too, Lee. But anybody, that's been an open and standing offer for everybody. Anybody willing to share any of their standards, if you send them to me and I have your consent, I will upload them to the ACSESS HSEP library. But I do not do that unless I have your consent to do so. So if you want to send it to me, I'll be more than glad to pass it on to Jennifer and we can add it to the library of samples. Thank you. All right. All right. Any general suggestions or topic suggestions for next meeting? Any general suggestions or topic suggestions for the next meeting? What do I have coming up? Coming up, I have, so I can do pedestrians is done. Coming up from our last couple of meetings where I collected, I have control of docs and records. I'm going to do those together because they go hand in hand. I have injury illness reporting. And then we've got on the list the 3 return to work topics that are related to WSIB claims also on the list. Anybody want to add another one? Speak now or send me an email and I will add it to my list of topics to be reviewed at our meetings. Or any other suggestions, doesn't have to be topics. Do you want to see, walk through of the step-by-step of how to upload, I've done it a few times, how to upload evidence, go through the portal, anything related to health and safety. Right.
Jim,
Yes.
I was just wondering if we could look at the, next time around, the legal portion of it. I think it's called,
Legal and other requirements.
yes, please.
I'll add it to the list. I do have
Perfect.
one person, I think Manpower is doing that. They picked that topic this year. They're doing a great job on it. I can't remember if she submitted it yet or not.
Jim, do you already have a recording on that topic?
On legal and other, did I do it already? I don't have an old list. Let me go back and see. I may have done it. It does sound familiar, but I may have done it for another group. Because it does sound familiar. Because I remember talking about legal registry and all that stuff. Does anybody on the call remember me going over it already?
I think you did it. I missed it. So I'm just confirming
Oh.
whether that recording is still there.
Oh yeah, the recording will be there. You just got to go back 2 or 3 meetings. I'm just going back to my notes to see if I did it. I don't see it here. Because I usually keep my notes, keep a list of all the topics, but I may have updated it and not copied that one over.
Well, somebody else is saying that they don't think you did. So
Okay, yeah,
awesome.
I have it on the list, so I can
Awesome.
do it.
Thank you.
I can do it, no problem.
A question to the audience. If you did hazard recognition, how did you do it for drivers, if you have drivers? And what did you do for hazard recognition for drivers?
So, what do you mean by hazard recognition?
Like, so for our production facility, when the hazard recognition, part of it is site inspection. Looking for evidence of safety program.
Well-
And but for drivers, it's a little different because they don't really have sites except for the terminals, and they're all over the roads.
Okay, so which topic are we talking about? Because
Hazard
which of the
recognition.
36 topics are you
I think
addressing it as
it's
a?
in the foundational one called hazard recognition.
Okay, so hazard recognition though is all the hazards, exposure. So you would do a hazard inventory for drivers. So all the hazards that drivers would be exposed to, right? So
Mhm.
ergonomics, jumping in and out, obviously getting into accidents. If they do any material handling, there's material handling hazards. Are they exposed to gasoline and fumes, vibration from driving? You know, so that's the topic would be, and then if you're doing it as a topic for your account, that would tell the validator that that's the only types of placements you do, because hazard recognition would be for every type, like your hazard inventory for all the different types of placements you do. If it's only drivers, then that's perfectly fine. That's the only list you're going to generate, right? So the topic is all hazards.
Mhm. Okay.
Right.
And then
if you-
ongoing monitoring though, like, so yearly, how would you know that you've gotten all the hazards other than looking at historical incidents?
Yeah, so you do so you already said one. So number one is you look at your incidents and if you had any incidents, was that hazard already on the hazard inventory,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
If it was, then why did it fail is going to be a good question, because you're supposed to have controls over that hazard. If it wasn't, that's another new one that you should have added at the time of that accident or incident.
Mhm.
So that would be one. If you do regular inspections, then you might pick up new hazards to add to your inventory. So inspections is another one. If you have a hazard reporting system, where workers can report in hazards. That could be another one that would add. Okay. And Desiree said, I have done a truck driver task analysis previously, which is another way to do a hazard assessment. So
Okay, that's what I've done. I
Desiree-
said like a job safety analysis
yeah,
for
it's
each type of driver that we have.
exactly.
Okay.
So you could do it as a general hazard inventory for all drivers. You can break it down if by category of driver. It just means that your lists, you have more than one list. You have different lists that are specific to each driver. That's more like a job safety analysis or job hazard analysis. So exactly, that's a way to look at it at a micro level. Look at everything a driver does, from getting up in the morning to parking the truck at the end of the night. And then for each of the different things they do, are there any hazards? And that's how you establish your hazard inventory.
Okay.
That-
Okay.
If you're doing it at a micro level, typically call it job hazard analysis, job safety analysis. Yeah. Job task analysis. Million word for the same thing.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Good question. All right. So again, any other topics, please shoot me an email. I've added legal and other to the list. So we will get to it. Kind of doing it in order of how they came up. And so that's kind of how I'm kind of trying to address them. All right. So again, Desiree, if there's anything you were willing to share with the group, if you send it to me, I will post it to the library. We'll have Jennifer does really. I'll ask Jennifer to kindly post it, and then we'll let everybody know it's there. And that goes for anybody who's willing to share. Okay. All right. So any other questions for the Q&A?
I have another one.
Sure.
So on your hazard inventory, does anybody have a template? I have
It's-
one, but I don't know if it has everything that, other people are using, because it's just, my difficulty is ranking it on high, medium, or low.
Yeah, there are probably a gazillion versions of a hazard inventory form, that has the hazard name, the description, the category, the frequency rating, severity rating, risk ranking, control measures, there's probably a million of different ones out there. You gotta just use the one you like. I believe I can have a look and see what I have and send you. If anybody has a form they've been using that wants to share it, there may be something already on the samples. Have you looked at the sample standards for that topic on the Access library? There may already be one there.
I don't think I saw anything like a risk registry. That's what I'm calling mine, is a risk registry.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I mean, again, there's different names for it. Yep, Desiree says I have that too. Haha. So there you go. Again, anything, just send it to me. I'll upload everything to the library. It's always a good place to go when you're starting your journey with a new standard or policy. See what's up there first before reinventing the wheel. All right. That's great. Thank you, Desiree. I'll look forward. Doesn't matter. Yeah, pre-HSEP or post-HSEP, hazard inventories or risk registries or risk assessments haven't changed. So perfectly fine. All right. All right. So next meeting date, I wanted to just do a check-in now. think we're well over a year, two, you're sort of mid or almost finishing year 2 of this new program. So I just wanted to do a quick check-in if monthly meetings are okay, or did you want to switch it to every 2 months? Now that we've kind of experienced the way we've run it, and I just kind of wanted to do a little bit of a poll, if we want to keep it at every month, that's perfectly fine. But if people feel that, one meeting every 2 months, that would be 6 meetings a year, would be fine. So I just wanted to kind of check in with the group and see what you think. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people today for whatever reason. So I think there's only right now 10 accounts representative, but at least from your 10 that are still here, what's your consensus? Do you want to keep it? If you want to keep it monthly, just type yes. And if you want it, switch it to every 2 months, type no in the chat. So monthly, yes, no means 2 months. Don't do I'm okay either way, because you have to pick, because then I can't add the numbers up. One. Got 4 yeses. 1, 2. And 5 no's. So it's really tight. And because we have poor representation, I may have to send out an email to everyone and ask them to answer the question, and then make a decision from there. So we'll stick to next month for now. And then between now and then we may just go to 2 months. Once I get the answers back, because of the low numbers we've got, I don't want to make and it's very close. It's like 5 to 4 or something like that, or 6 to 5 or something. So we'll let's look at late October, and then we may, if we get more numbers, we may. I'll try. Well, between now and then, I think the best way to do is just send out an email and ask people to respond yes or no as well, and then the majority will rule to see whether or not we keep it at one every month or every other month. All right. Let's look at October 27th is a Thursday. How does that look? Same time, 1 p.m. Work.
Open on my calendar.
Okay, so I will put ACSESS HSEP meeting. So Jennifer, if you make a note of that, 1 p.m. October 27th. That'll be the